10 Boxing TV here with Ken Porter. Ken, while we walk and talk, let's talk about what we just saw right now.
What part?
Demetrius Andrade had very good combinations, but he wasn't hurting Benavidez. But Benavidez, no matter what, every time he threw a punch, he would hurt Demetrius Andrade. Your thoughts on the fight?
Demetrius needed a jab, and I don't prescribe to the southpaws that start off right-handed and switch to be a southpaw, because it makes it difficult for the other people that they're fighting, because when you get to that highest level, you need a jab, and he didn't have a jab to keep the guy off. And then Demetrius is not a hard puncher, so he really needed that jab to keep that guy off. He started off really good though, but the monster just wore him down.
Through the years, we've seen Demetrius, go to post-fight press conferences, try to get the Charlos, try to get Canelo, try to get the high-profile names. Did he do himself any favors tonight to get that?
It's a tightrope that he walked. He made choices to sign with smaller promoters. He made choices to move against smaller fighters, now big-name fighters, and now, at the age that he's at, those guys on the top end don't need him, and so it's a very fine line. And he came out of the Olympic class with Shawn, and in that class was also Keith Thurman, in that class was also Terrence Crawford, in that class was also Wilder, guys like that. Those guys have been fighting prime for years. They've been doing their prime fights for years. And he just getting to that fight tonight, and it didn't go his way, Shawn.
Now, we already talked about Demetrius, let's talk about David Benavidez. He's been calling for Canelo. We all know Canelo has 2 more fights for PBC coming up, May and September. Do you see it happening in May, or do you see it happening in September? Do you see it even happening at all?
If it does happen, I would say we gotta wait and see what happens with PBC, and that will determine which way they decide to go. But I got David in that fight.
You got David in that one?
I got David all day in that fight.
Gotcha.
Twice on Sundays, David. The monster is real.
Elaborate more. Why do you have such confidence in Benavidez?
Well, listen. You see a guy that's fast, a guy that's strong, a guy that's extremely determined to impose his will on you and not let anything stop him from doing that. So with that being the case, I don't see there being anybody who's going to withstand that over the course of 12 rounds.
Now let's talk about some other people. We saw a very, I don't know, Charlo looked decent but didn't look great, like he's not all there. Does he need like another fight or two before he even tries to step in with like a Caleb Plant or a Canelo?
I would say another fight. I would say another fight, definitely. He's just getting back in there. He's been gone for 2 years.
Yes, sir.
If it was me, I'd say let's get a couple of fights. Let's get 2 or 3 before we, step up against the big dogs. I would say at least 2 or 3.
And finally, because I got Shawn here with me too, are you gonna train him when he has to fight Timothy Bradley?
If he fights Bradley, I'm all for it.
Anything else you got to say to the fans?
You know what? This was a good night of fighting. Much more than what I've seen here recently with some of the last couple of fights I saw here. And so, this renews my thoughts that we can have some really good fights, especially when you come to see David. You're going to see some really good fights. And David's brother put up a hell of a fight tonight too. David's brother came to fight.
Do you think Jose Benavidez did himself favors to get a big fight?
Yes, definitely did. Definitely did. Jose put on a heartfelt performance, and he made you root for him. So, no doubt about it.
Thank you for your time, Ken.
No, you got it. Thank you, man.